Dear listeners, my name is Anthony Clark.
And I'm Melanie Clark.
And we are
The Amazing Clarks.
We're both award-winning certified life and love coaches and a husband and wife duo that have been coaching together as a team for 24 years and that have been passionately in love for 32. They call us the Amazing Clarks because we empower people to live amazing lives.
And we're here to help you get from where you are to where you want to be in life and love. Love the Amazing Clarks is our personal love letter to all of you who love love.
That's right, and we love love. So let's get this party started. So today we have another amazing podcast for you guys. Today's main topic is sex in the Diddy.
Ooh.
Sex in the Diddy. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, we being controversial today, Anthony. I like it.
I think it's about to go down today. So
Yeah.
guys, this is going to be a good episode. We're going to talk about, all the things that's going on with this, Puff Daddy Diddy thing and the victims, the sex, the chaos, all of it. We're going to just kind of and give you our perspective of what's going on from a coach's perspective.
Yeah. I'm always interested in why people do the things that they do.
Yeah.
So I think we can understand each other more if we understand why people do what they do. We don't have to agree.
Right.
We don't have to condone it, but sometimes understanding helps.
Got it. You're right. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
But before we jump to that juicy topic, it's time for the listeners' letters. Now, this is where you guys send in your questions about dating, relationship, or life in general. It doesn't matter. And we will answer your questions on the podcast. So, baby, what's the listener letter of the day?
Okay, so the listener letter of the day is, I met a handsome married man at the bank and was honest and said he was looking for a woman to join him and his wife in the bedroom. He was fine, so I agreed to join them one time. That was it, and I never heard from him again. I think it's because his wife was jealous. Should I call and ask him why?
Wow.
You want to go first?
Good. You go first.
Okay. No. You should not call him and ask him why.
Can she text him?
No.
Yeah, nothing.
No
Contact.
So here's the thing. When couples are opening up the sexual aspect of their relationship and they invite another person in, a lot of times they're doing that and they view the other person as like a toy, right? Like a sex toy. It's something to enhance their sexual relationship, their sexual energy, to play out a fantasy. And if you get invited to be the third in a threesome, you have to understand that it may be one and done. And most couples want it to be one and done because they're just going for the sexual experience, not a relationship. And if they continue to see the same person over and over again, a lot of times they will catch feelings, and that's not what they're trying to do. So if they have not reached out to you for a we'll call it a repeat performance, then I would say just chalk that up as an experience in your life and keep it moving, sis.
Good advice. Good advice.
Thanks.
Yeah, I agree with you. Basically, you have to realize that you, in that situation, you are just a sex toy, but you're volunteering for that.
Yeah.
So nobody's forcing you. So everybody's in agreement, which is great. You guys are adults.
Yep.
And after the sex with the sex toys, what happens? You put the sex toy away. Period. You don't leave it out. You don't hang out with it. You don't, walk around with it. You put it away.
You don't take it to dinner?
One and done. No, you don't. So, if I was you, don't get your feelings hurt.
Right.
But definitely don't contact them. And in actuality, if you cool and just chill and don't contact them, then you may be surprised. They may reach out to you eventually because they might think, you know what, that's good. She didn't trip and she didn't bug us. She had kept it in perspective, didn't get the game messed up. So you know what, let's try that again. But don't personalize it. It's not about a relationship, But once again, you don't want to overstay your welcome when it comes to a threesome like that.
I agree, Anthony.
There we go. There we go. So that was a good one. I like that.
The thing that stood out to me was it's consenting adults.
Yeah.
We have no judgment for that. Like adults that are consenting are allowed to do whatever they choose to do in the privacy of their bedroom. No judgment for that.
I agree.
But now when it comes to Diddy in the city, I don't know if it was all consenting adults.
Okay, so we're sliding in now to the main topic, sex in the Diddy. Okay, so good setup, babe. Way to set it up. So
I got you always.
Yeah. So unless you guys have been living under a rock,
Right.
I'm sure you guys heard about what's going on with Puff Daddy, Diddy, whatever name he's going by now lately.
Sean Poofy Combs.
Sean Poofy Combs, yeah. And the whole scandal with from the drugs involved to the human trafficking to the celebrity sex, to all types of anything you can imagine, even
Baby
underage
oil.
kids.
Baby oil.
Yeah, even the minors,
Right.
Everybody kind of has their perspective on it. But today we want to kind of share our perspective, and we've been watching and talking about it and having conversations about it. And we find the whole thing, even though there are a lot of things that are very disturbing, there's also some other things going on too, as far as like the individuals involved, why the people get involved.
Mm-hmm.
We look at the psychology of things to see how the people get to where they're at and help us to understand them. So that's what this show today is going to be about. So, babe, why don't you go ahead and start off, share your perspective on what's going on?
As I watch it unfold, I'm definitely disturbed by a lot of it. I'm shocked by a lot of it. But something that kind of comes up for me, because we've been in this game a long time, is I have noticed a pattern. And that's what I notice. As a coach, I look for patterns, I watch for patterns. And I have seen a pattern of very wealthy people with a lot of power tend to choose very different sexual experiences.
Right.
And I think one of the reasons that they do that is, as human beings, we want experience. We want new experiences all of the time. That's just how we operate. Our desire does not become less, it becomes more. And I think that when people have everything and have done everything and have experienced everything, they're looking for the next thing. And that makes things that are, air quoting, wrong, taboo, unconventional, those things seem way more appealing. And I think it's a power trip too. Yeah. It's like, I can do these things that society deems as wrong. And I can get away with it because I have power and I'm in control. And so I kind of look at it from that perspective.
That's a good perspective.
What do you say?
First I want to say that one of the things that I was laughing at was the realization that I could have been at one of those Diddy parties. We could have been very easily. And especially because we've been in the entertainment industry for a while now. Even back when Puff Daddy was the hot thing, and those parties were the hot thing. So those parties were very popular, and especially if you're in the industry, it's a great way to network. It's a great way to make connections. And so we were kind of close to those circles in a way. And if someone would have given us an invite, we would have went. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. We would have been happy to go. Yeah. And that's scary.
It looks like a good time from the outside.
It looks like a good time from the outside, right? But the catch is, once you get in there and they give you that first drink, like, hey, let's celebrate. Come on, everybody, here's a drink. You can't go until you celebrate with this drink.
Right.
I would have been celebrating.
Oh, yeah, you would.
Right. And then what happens? You roofied, you go into the party. Yeah. The next thing you know, you're blacking out and the cameras start rolling and things start going down. And now there's, blackmail on you. There's you don't even realize what's going on. So it's easy for people on the outside now to look at all the people and go, oh my God, how could they ever do that? Now, some of them I'm sure knew. Yeah. And they were going for that reason. They wanted to get down with the diddler and party and all that other stuff like that. But a lot of the people there, they just were trapped into it. Yeah. They didn't know. They got drugged. They got roofied.
The other thing too, I remember the 90s. And the 90s was really a big, from my perspective, a sexual revolution. That's when especially women were coming out and saying, I like sex. I want sex. I want to enjoy it. And I think it was a time where people were just really kind of going for it and being way more open. They had freedom. Sexual freedom, being way more open than they had been before. Right. But they were doing it behind closed doors. And like I started with, things escalate for people. Yeah. It's like, once you get that high, what will you do to get the next high, right? And so I have no problem with people having sexual experiences. The only thing not the only thing, but one of the things that stands out to me that makes it really uncomfortable for me is, first of all, non-consent and the children thing,
Right.
and trafficking and
Right.
holding people against their will.
And drugging people.
And drugging people, yeah.
Exactly.
To me, that's not okay. But I do remember the 90s as where, we heard about people all the time. Like you said, like we'd get invited to parties. I remember I was at a club one time and I met Jamie Foxx, and he was basically like, hey, do you want to go back to the hotel? Everybody's going, and we're going to do our thing. And I was like, I just met you, sir. Like, I'm not trying to do all of that. But then I could see like someone who wants to be in that industry and wants to be famous and wants the money, being like, hell yeah, I'm going back to the hotel because I'm trying to get in with the crew. I'm trying to come up, right? And that's what everybody was doing back then. Everybody was trying to come up.
Or just be associated with quote unquote greatness, celebrity, to say, oh, I know that, or I had this experience,
Yeah.
And a lot of people, when they look at it and they go, wait, how did they get to that point? Especially the people that stick with it and get escalated.
Yeah.
And a great perspective is that it comes down to access to excess. Access to excess.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, you're a working Joe.
Yeah.
And you make your $60,000 a year.
Right.
You're going to have a certain access to a certain lifestyle, which will be normal to you.
Right.
Now, a guy that doesn't have a job and is homeless, he doesn't have access to that lifestyle that the guy with the 9-to-5 has.
Right.
So that guy has more access. So now you take a millionaire compared to the working Joe. That millionaire has so much more access to excess than the working Joe does. So the working Joe would look at that guy and go, that's weird, all that stuff he's doing. And some of the stuff is even a little suspect because it's out of their range. But now you take a billionaire compared to that millionaire. Now that billionaire has access to a whole nother world of excess.
Right.
And each time you get access to excess, it blurs the lines.
Right.
Each level you go up. And so I think that when they get to that level of billionaire status, you have access to, pretty much getting away with murder. You can do anything you want. You can buy off the judges. You can buy off the congressmen. You can buy off the CEOs. There's so much power that you get at those levels that those lines are blurred. And that's when things tend to go really, really bad.
Oh, I agree. I also don't think this is new.
No.
You know what I mean? Like this kind of stuff has been going on forever. I mean, we were watching a documentary where they were saying that, there were tunnels from the Playboy Mansion that were connected to like the Brat Pack's homes back in the day, Sinatra and all of that.
Allegedly,
right? So people in positions of power and great wealth have always, and we've talked about this a lot, have always had extreme sexuality, and it's not new. And I think, again, once they get in a position of power, they're going to take what they want. And that means if I have to drug you, I will do it. I mean, how much of this stuff is coming out now, right? Like there's Diddy, there's the Epstein stuff. I mean, we can go back to Bill Cosby. This is what I'm looking at. Like, why are these people at that level doing this? Like, why do they feel like they have to take over people and have sexual experiences that people don't want to have? And to me, it's entitlement. It's like, I have so much access to excess, like you say, that I want what I believe I can't have. Yeah. That's the high, right? Like that's the high. Yeah. Also, I think that this is baked into the entertainment industry. Like I said, it's been going on forever. And I think when you get in that game, and you really want to be in the game, you have a choice. It's like, this is how we get down. And so you're going to have to play this game. Again,
the casting couch.
The casting couch. Right. And what's crazy about the casting couch? Like I've been thinking about this a lot. Like
now it's a casting house.
Now it's a casting house, right? A casting party.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this a lot, and this is kind of vulnerable for me.
Okay.
So in the 80s and the 90s, that was the time where I was young and hot, and a lot of guys were chasing me and all of that stuff. And it was just normal during that time especially for men to say, like, I did some modeling, right? And I would go to modeling gigs, and it was just out in the open. Like, if you want this job, you're going to have to perform some type of sexual exchange to get the job. That happened to me so many times, and I was not shocked by it. Obviously, I'm not a famous model, so I didn't do those things, but it was put out there. It was an offer. And I
got to pay to play.
Yeah, you got to pay to play. And this is the vulnerable part for me. I was not offended by it. Because it felt normal. It was just the way that the world is. And then I'm noticing that younger people, younger than me, the women today, like with the whole Me Too movement and all of that, they're just saying no more. Like, no, we shouldn't have to exchange sexual favors to advance in life, and we're not doing it anymore. And I'm just cheering them on. The vulnerable part for me is that I didn't notice it. You know what I mean? Like, my generation, we just accepted it. So even when this sexual revolution was happening in the 90s, women were like, yeah, I like sex and I want to be open to it. But there was still the level of like, well, it's great that you like it, but you still got to pay to play.
Right.
And so seeing that change, like I'm thrilled to see that change. Like, I'm so proud of young women for standing up for themselves and putting a stop to that. Feel a little, not ashamed, but like there's an awareness that I didn't get it back then, but I was where I was. And when things seem normal, they seem normal.
Right.
But I love that as a society, as women, as men, we are evolving in a way where we are caring about each other and not just using each other. So I'm not surprised that this stuff, I always say this, everything is revealed. So I'm not surprised that this stuff is being exposed now, because as people like energetically and spiritually change and say, we want to become something different, everything has to be exposed for that change to happen. And honestly, Anthony, I feel like it's happening like in so many areas. Like, it's happening in the entertainment industry. It's happening in politics. It's happening in all aspects of life. We are evolving. And when evolution happens, there's going to be some disruption. There's going to be some things revealed that have to go away. And I think that this stuff, the, Diddy in the City, is part of the entertainment industry changing and being revealed, because guess what? People have the ability now to create their own celebrity through the internet.
Right.
They don't need Hollywood. They don't got to go to diddler parties to get put on. They can do it themselves now. So it makes sense that all of this is being revealed so that it can go away. Again, no problem with people having whatever kind of sex they want to have, as long as it's consenting adults. And the fact that they were allegedly trafficking people and having sex with children is just not okay with me.
Yeah, right. It's like, what happened to the days of just the clean, old-fashioned, wholesome orgies?
Right.
It's like, what's going on, people?
Yeah, just
what's
a bunch of people being naked, doing their thing.
Do a lot of drugging and then all that other stuff to each other. That's crazy. You know what, though? Me personally, I think that it might cause Hollywood to have to clean up its act in the entertainment industry. But overall, it's not going to go anywhere.
No.
It's something you can't get rid of. It's just the human condition.
Yeah.
And it tends to be, a thing like dominance. And it's been like that throughout history.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like it'll just be more behind doors, maybe.
More secretive.
Yeah. But I think that that's going to always happen to some degree. But I am glad that there is an awareness, and, which is helping a lot of people, saving a lot of lives. And that's all good. Beautiful thing.
You say that like you think it's going to continue to go on. Do you think that because we have the internet and people can be revealed so easily that they'll still do it, or they'll just do like Epstein did, right, and just go off to an island somewhere and hide?
Yeah,
and
they just get more clever,
creative,
more creative,
more creative with their deviance.
Right. And from my perspective, the whole exposure with Diddy, even with Epstein and the Cosby thing, that's just scratching the surface. Those are only the ones that got caught. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure
true.
that there's so much more going on that, that was just like the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, my
So-
brain can't even handle that.
So I
like, the
don't know.
thought of
I
that.
don't know about getting rid of the entire iceberg. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Yeah. So do you think that people will continuing to do that just because it feels like empowerment, or do you think that it's just like, I'm going to put it out there, is it just evil?
I think that it's a number of things. And I think, so for example, one, I think that people actually, that those that get sexually addicted and they just become sex addicts.
Right.
So that's the perfect outlet for them from their
Right.
perspective.
Mhm.
The next one would be, like we've discussed before, when people can't connect to their spirit,
Right.
they find other ways to connect and they go through the back door.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
Okay,
So that back door would be like maybe shopping.
Mhm.
When people are shopping and they get addicted to shopping, they get a high in that
Yeah.
moment when they're shopping, and that high makes them let go of resistance.
Right.
And when they let go of resistance, they automatically connect to spirit,
Right.
and that feels good. And then they want to keep doing it and keep doing it. And even though it's not the healthiest way of connecting to your spirit, it's better than no connection at all.
Right.
Some people will use alcohol and
Mhm.
just drink, and then they'll get drunk, let go of resistance,
Mhm.
and connect to spirit. But then once again, then they're going to keep going back and doing it again,
Right.
instead of learning how to directly connect to spirit. So sex is the same way. When
Mhm.
people are having sex, if they don't have a spiritual connection, then they have sex. In that moment, they let go of resistance,
Mhm.
and then you automatically connect
They feel
to
connected.
spirit. And that's why they want to keep doing it again and again and again. So then there are those that just like preying on other people
Right.
and controlling and dominance.
Right.
So there's a plethora of reasons. Then there are people like I could have been, where I just stumbled into the party
Mhm.
and had that first drink, and
Right. And then they got videotape on
they
you.
got videotaping me.
So you got to keep going
Yeah.
to make sure the videotape doesn't come out. And then they just
Exactly.
create more and more videotapes of you.
Exactly.
And now you're in this
in too
feedback
deep.
loop that you can't get out of, right? So
Right.
you got to play this game and play along. You bring up a great point, and I think it's an escalation, right? So you
Mhm.
said some people use shopping, some people use alcohol. So think about people who have access to excess. They start off with the money, right? The shopping and the designer stuff and the cars and the homes. But once you buy so many homes and you buy so many cars and you buy so many clothes and you buy so much jewelry, like then what? Then it's the next thing, it's the parties.
Right.
And then the party turns into like, okay, we got drunk, we did drugs. Okay, we ate great food. What's next? Sex.
Right.
Then it's like multiple partners. So it's an escalation.
Yeah.
It's an escalation of the excess. So I think the message to all of us is that money does not bring happiness. It doesn't. You have to choose happiness right where you are. And when people get a lot of money and power and they're not grounded in spirit and they're not happy, that excess is going to take them sometimes to a really dark place. So be happy where you are, people. If you don't have everything that you want, recognize that that is not the key to happiness. It is your connection. It is having love in your heart, caring about yourself and others and the world that we live in.
That's right. And remember, you got to say no to Diddy.
Yeah.
Okay.
No Diddy.
No Diddy.
No Diddy.
All right, guys. So that was an entertaining episode.
Yes, it was.
Okay, so if you guys haven't had a chance yet to get a copy of our book, Crack the Code, Secrets to Achieving Your Happily Ever After, make sure you pick up your copy today, available at Amazon.com. And if you're interested in coaching with the amazing Clarks, Melanie and myself, then go to our website, theamazingclarks.com, and sign up for coaching. You can coach via Zoom, you can coach through your phone, you can coach maybe even in person, depending on where you live. And last but not least, if you're interested in becoming a life coach or you just want to learn some skills to life coach yourself or the people around you, check out our life coach training and certification course at the Law of Attraction, lifecoachacademy.com.
So I want to thank you all for hanging out with us. We love and appreciate you all. Make sure you're connecting with us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Amazing Clarks. And remember, to go there, you got to grow there.
There you go. We gave it to you. Now what you're going to do with it. See you next time, people.
See you next time.